All right, so you guys are asking, oh, why am I dressed like this? This is so weird. I get this. Go home. You can ask your parents. This is what your parents used to wear in high school. This is literally the same clothes I wore in high school. Every Friday when I played football, this was my football jersey. This was the belt and the style that we had, extra hanging down. These are the same pants. Believe it or not, I can actually fit into them. We rolled our pants like this. You fold it over and roll it up. Tight rolled pants. This is what it was. I had the same haircut back then. In fact, I did find an old picture. This is from way back when. You could see it's parted in the middle. Everybody had this. Why am I doing this? It's because today we are going old school. That's what I like to call it. This is old school. This is 25 years ago being old school. And we're going old school division. I showed you one way how to do division yesterday. Today we're going to do another way. We will practice this for the next couple of days. This is probably the number one way most people go to do their division on their tests and things like this, because they say, oh, once you figure this out, you're like, oh, this is the easiest way, the fastest way. Go home, ask your parents. This is what we were taught growing up. Nowadays, we have all these different methods and the new ways and everything else, which you're going to learn. And if you like those better, do it. But this is old school division. So when you hear me saying, you could do it this way, you could do it this way, or old school, this is what we're talking about. Now on your Rocket Math paper, the back of it is blank, and I have it blank for a reason. Well, some of yours is blank. Find a blank paper in there, and this is what I want you to do. You're going to write the keys to old school division. These steps are the same always and forever, and I will explain what they mean here in just a minute. Now, before you start writing all of this, this is the steps. DMSCB. DMSCB, you will hear me say this 100 times. For you to remember the steps in order, this is the easy thing to remember. The question is, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? DMSCB. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? You won't forget these steps anymore because all you got to do is say, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? You'll remember this. Now, what does these DMSCB stand for? This is divide, multiply, subtract, check. This is very important. And bring down. These are your steps. You can learn these steps. And these steps will be the same always, forever, whether we're doing easy division, really, really long division, 2-digit dividing. All of this stuff is coming, but these steps will stay the same for probably the next month and a half that we do dividing, because we're going to be doing dividing for quite a while. Okay, so you need to know divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? But you will probably see me write this a bunch of times. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? Can you write that on your test? Yes. Can you write it on your homework?
Yes.
You can write it wherever you want. Write it down if you've gone, okay, this is a page of dividing. I got to remember my steps. Write it down. I don't care. This is like a checklist, and you're going to see here in just a minute how this checklist works. But when you write it down, there's a couple things I'm adding. There's a few arrows. Okay? And these arrows will explain to you where to put your answers. When you divide, it goes up. Everything else will go down. And here's the problem. When you get to the end, you start over. Put it up, everything down, start over. Up, everything down, start over. And this pattern will continue over and over and over. And this is going to be a checklist. And we'll show you how this works in just a second. So I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to copy this down real quick. On your white paper, on your Rocket Math paper somewhere. DMSCB, arrow down, arrow up, arrow all the way around. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of little secret things to do and use, and if you use them and do them, it's going to help you out a lot. But it's funny, in my class, when I did it, everybody but 3 people flew through it, got the right answer, and those 3 people went clueless for 2 reasons. One, they didn't do what I was asking them to do. I would ask them, where is this? Oh, I didn't need one. Okay, do it your way. You didn't get it right. That didn't work. Or I would say, okay, what about this? What's next? Well, okay? Just try it my way. Trust me. This first thing you're going to need is a revealer. A revealer is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to have a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, something that you're not using. You cannot use the pencil you're writing with, okay? Because as soon as you move it, it's been done. A revealer is something you can slide back and forth to reveal numbers or answers or something like that, okay? So get yourself an eraser, a book, a piece of paper, something that you're going to be able to slide back and forth, okay? The other thing that you might want to have out, especially those that don't know your multiplication facts that well, you might want to have your composition book out or your agenda or something that has your multiplication chart. Because you're going to be looking and learning a few things today using that. If you know your multiplication facts, forwards, backwards, inside out, not a big deal. All right, so here's the first thing you are always going to do, okay? I'm going to get my revealer, and I'm going to slide it and ask yourself questions, okay? So I'm going to slide it to the first number like this. And the question I will ask you, I bet you will hear me say this 1,000 times over the next 2 months, is 3 less than or equal to 2? Your answer is no. It's not less than. It's not equal to. If your answer is no, keep sliding. Is 3 less than or equal to 23?
Yes.
Yes. If your answer is yes, then, and this is where a lot of people in my class didn't do it, this is where I want you to just put a little arrow up here. That little arrow is telling you this is where you are going to start. So many people, so many 5th graders have a problem. They start in the wrong place, and then 5 or 6 steps down the road, they're going, I don't know what to do now. And the whole problem is they started in the wrong place. So you will hear me say this a bunch of times throughout the year. I'll say, hey, is 3 less than 2? And you'll say no. And I'll say, then why'd you start there? You put an answer there. That is not where you start. That's why we say put little arrows. Now, if I put a little arrow here, that's saying I start there, right? That also means I should have a little arrow here and a little arrow here. Because once you start, you're going to have an arrow all the way to the end. Okay? Now, sometimes it's a little different. Again, same thing. I use my revealer and I slide it. Is 3 less than 5?
Yes.
Yes, so then I'm going to start right there. Which means if I start there, then I'm going to have one here, I'm going to have one here. Okay? Now, I'm going to make this a little easier, but let's start it from here. We're going to go through our steps and do this whole process. Okay, so again, is 3 less than 5? Yes, so I put my arrow there, and I put my arrow there, and I'm good. Now, to start, I'm going to start with divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. I know divide goes up, everything goes down, and then I start over. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Once I figure out where all my arrows are, I'm going to actually start, which means I'm going to move my revealer to just the first number. Okay? Now, so many people try to pull it off and try to say, oh, what's 3? Do I know my multiplication facts all the way up to 51 by 3s? No. But you do know your multiplication facts up to 5. That's pretty easy. That's what this revealer does, is says, look, instead of trying to make this such a huge, big problem, and so many people are going, oh, I don't get it, what's going on? We're going to make them little problems, okay? Let me change this so that I get a good number. Okay. So, here we go. Stay with me. We're going to start doing this. Ready? Step 1. Is 3 less than 1? Is 3 less than 13? Yes, so I'm going to start there, which means I'm going to have one there, right? So now I move my revealer back to here? Here? Yes, right here. Okay, so now, step number one. Now I know where I'm starting. Step number one is divide, right? Well, what am I dividing? Everything is going to be done with this 3, right? So I'm going to divide 3 into 13. Now, this is where some people just start guessing random numbers, and I don't know, is it 7, is it 2, is it 14, is it 1? If you have your multiplication table, and you look at the 3's, so go ahead and look at your 3's multiplication table, pull it out real fast, all of you. If you look at your multiplication table, it starts like this. And I start at my 3's and I go straight across. If you look, the numbers go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and so on, right? Okay, so if I'm dividing by 3's, one of the things you can do is go, okay, I want to go as close as I can to that 13, but not go over. Okay? So if I'm going straight across here, what number is as close as I can get to 13, but I don't go over? Is 3 close?
No.
No. Is 6 close?
No.
9? 12?
Yes.
15?
No.
Over. 15's over, right? So if I go back here, that's as close as I can get. And I didn't go over, right? So to find out how many times 3 went into 13, I'm going to do that. This is kind of like a little slide thing. Just keep sliding, 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 sliding. Up, too far, back up. And then to find your answer, just go up. And what's the number at the top? 4. Okay? Everybody see how this works? We'll do some more of these here in a little bit. But that's going to be your answer. How many times will 3 go into 13? Oh, 4. So where am I going to put that answer 4? Above. Remember? Dividing. My first step is dividing, so it goes up. Up here, where that arrow is telling you to start. So I'm going to put that 4 here. Now, here's the key. Ready? Whatever you write down is what you use for the next step. When you write something down, you have finished a step, and you can go to the next step. Okay? I just wrote a 4 down, right? So I've done my dividing. Check. I can go to my next step, right? What's my next step? Multiply. And I'm going to multiply what I just wrote down. What did I just write down? 4. So I'm going to do 4 times 3. Remember, I told you all the multiplying and dividing is going through this 3. So I'm going to take what I just wrote down, the 4 times 3. And what's 4 times 3? 12. I need to write that down. Where am I going to write that answer down? It tells me to go down, right? So I'm going to write 12 down here. Did I write something down? Yeah, so I'm done with that step, right? Now I can move to subtract. I'm going to subtract what I just wrote down. I just wrote down that 12, right? So subtract it. What's 13 minus 12? 1. I just wrote a number down, right? Done with that. Now I'm going to check. What does that mean, check? I'm going to check the number I just wrote down. This number right here that I just wrote. You're going to check to see, is this number less than that number? If it is, check. I give it a little check, right? I just wrote a check down, right? So I finished that step. What's your next step? Bring down. Let's look and see. This is where you finally move your revealer. I'm at the last step. Am I done? Oh, I have a number to bring down. If I have a number to bring down, I'm going to bring that number down right where I just wrote, right? So I just wrote a number down, right? Done. So what does that mean I need to do? Start all over. Now I got to divide. And this is where most 5th graders make a mistake. What do I divide? I don't know. Hey, this little check, what does that look like? Oh, it's a division symbol, right? That's why I'm kind of doing this. Let's just check and be done with it, right? So this is what I'm dividing. I'm dividing what I just wrote down, right? I wrote the 8 down. Remember, I told you, whatever you write down is on the next step. So I'm going to divide 18, but what am I going to divide? What number? 3, because we're doing all our dividing and multiplying with this, right? Can I just do this? Can I, so I know what I'm doing? Can I just bring this down here? That's fine, if you need to. And now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide 3 into 18. Okay, well, let's look at our little cheat sheet there. Going straight across. Ready? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Uh-oh, too far. Let's go back to the 18, right? And I go all the way to the top, and what is my number? How many times will 3 go into 18? 6. Where do I put that answer? I'm dividing, right? So where does it go? Up top. Right by the 4. So my 6 goes here. I just wrote something down, right? Check. I could go to my next step, which is multiply. I'm going to multiply what I just wrote down. What did I write down? 6. So 6 times... Everything's multiplying and dividing through the 3, right? So 6 times 3 is 18, and it goes down. Right here, 18, right? I wrote something down. Check. Now what am I doing? Subtracting what I just wrote down. So 18 minus 18 is 0. Now what am I doing? I wrote something down. Check. What do I need to do? Oh no, you can't. I have a lot of people that always do that, say, I'm done, I don't need to do anything else. Oh no, you got to do all the steps. And you keep doing the steps until you can't go anymore, and I'll show you. I just wrote down, I just subtracted, right? Now what do I do? Check. What am I checking? Is that less than this? Check. I just wrote my check down. My next step is? Bring down. Let's see, do I have any more to bring? Okay. If I had no more to bring down, now I'm finished. Okay? So I want you to write these as we go. Okay? I want you to do these steps as we go through this. So write this problem down. On your whiteboard, yes. Okay. So your problem is 238 divided by 4. And if you want to do divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, that's up to you. So what do you need to also have? 2 things while you're doing this. What should you also have? Slider thing. What do we call it?
Revealer.
Thank you. Your revealer. You need something to have as a revealer. I don't care what you use, a piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser, a book, something. I want to see the revealer right now on everybody's desk that you're using on your whiteboard. Okay. So what is the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to slide it until I find my starting point, right? So you're doing the same thing. You're doing all of this the same time I'm doing it. Okay? So I'm going to slide my revealer to the first number, right? Is 4 less than 2?
No.
What do I do then? Slide it again. Is 4 less than 23?
Yes.
So what should you do?
Put an arrow.
Draw your arrow. After you draw that arrow, what should you do? Is there another one on the next one? Oh, there's another one. Is there another one? No. Okay. What does that arrows tell you? If I have 2 arrows, that means you're doing this twice. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. If I had 5 arrows, you would have to do this 5 times. Okay, but we're only doing 2 this time. All right. Now what do I do? What do I do now? Slide it to where? The first arrow. So everybody should have their slid to the first arrow like this. You should have the simple problem. Where's your slider? You should have the simple problem of 23 divided by 4, right? We're dividing. What should I do now to find that missing number? Hey, go to your cheat sheet. What am I looking at in my cheat sheet? I'm glad to see most of you have out some kind of a composition book or something. Some of you still don't. So on that cheat sheet, what am I looking at? The fours, right? I'm going to jump. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 24 is too far, so I back up to 20 and go to the top. What's my number at the top?
5.
Where does that 5 go? Under the first arrow, so write the 5 there. I just wrote something down, so that means I did my first step, right? What's my next step?
Multiply.
What are you going to multiply?
4 times
That 5 that you just wrote down. So 5 times 4, which is
20.
20. Where are you going to write it?
Under the 23.
So write it under there. 20. I just wrote something down. Check. I can move to the next step, which is
Subtract.
subtract what I just wrote down. I just wrote down the 20, so subtract that. So 23 minus 20 is
3.
3. Write it down. Which means what? I'm done. Check. Let's go to my next step, which is check what?
What you just wrote down.
Check what I just wrote down, the 3. I'm checking to see if the 3 is less than 4. Is it? So what do you write? Check. Do your little check thingy. I just wrote my check, right? Now what? Bring down. Do I have a number to bring down? Let's slide our revealer over. Slide it over. Oh, I do. In fact, you might want to draw your little arrows like that and say, I'm bringing the 8 down. I just brought a number down. Check. Which means now what am I doing?
Restarting. Start over.
Start over, which is divide. What am I dividing? What I just wrote down, right? 38 divided by what?
4.
4. Now where do I go? Cheat sheet, right? Let's go. Ready? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 36. Oh, I wrote the wrong number down. Sorry. Let me change that to. Let's do that to 36, not 38. Sorry. That's all me. That's my fault. Sorry. So it should be 6 down here. Sorry. Change that real quick. 36. Okay, so we got to 36, right? How many times? Go up. How many times will 4 go into 36? Oh, let's try it again since I have all. Let's look back at your cheat sheet. Ready? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Oh, that's exactly right. So what do I do? Go straight up. How much is it? Where does that 9 go? Up top, right? Where that other arrow is. I just wrote down the 9, so I'm done. Now what's my next step? Multiply. What am I multiplying? 9 that I just wrote down times 4. 9 times 4 is?
36.
Where does it go? Down, right? So I put the 36 down. I just wrote something down. Check. What's your next step? Subtract what you just wrote down. 36 minus 36 is 0. I wrote something down. Check. What's your next step? Check it. Is this less than that? Check. My little check arrow. Got it. I wrote something down. Next step, bring down. Do I have anything to bring down?
No.
Then you're done. Any questions? Yes. Can I do what? You want to come over here and do 9 times 4? You want to check it, you mean? Oh, yeah. Some of you have been taught in the past, hey, put a little check at X here. If that helps you, put it there. I don't care. Yes, sir. Ah, good question. What happens if you were checking right here, and when you were checking this, and you said, is 8 less than 4, and you say, nope. Guess what? Whole thing is wrong, start over. Okay? If you get to the, and you're going to catch this, here's a reason. Later, when you're dealing with really big numbers and 2-digit dividing, you're going to do everything perfect and then come out and check it and be like, that's something wrong, I got to go back and redo it. If you can get in the habit of doing it now, then you'll be set later. Okay? Always check. That's the one thing a lot of 5th graders don't do is they don't check it. and it's going to really, really cost you later. Other questions? Okay.